Well, hello there, and welcome to episode 36 now of the Gamers Roundtable. I'm Leaf X, the host of the show here, and I got a couple of awesome dudes joining me today. We have down the line, we have Charles. Hello, Charles.
Hello.
And beside him, we got Manny.
Emmanuel Marino, how's it going?
Emmanuel Marino. And again, I'm Leaf X. And this is the Gamers Roundtable. We like to talk about video games and stuff like that. So just so you know, what we're going to do is we start off talking about some news and stuff and answering questions because we got a live Q&A at the side there. So if you want to join in, we do this every Wednesday at 7 p.m. EDT. So make sure you join in. Throw us on in the background or join in and ask us questions. If not, yeah, just listen to us. Throw us on in the background. So we're going to get to... before the news, we're going to get to what we've been playing this week and just see what we've been up to. So, Charles, what have you been playing this week?
League. I haven't League. I guess. I mean,
You gotta switch over to Dota, man. The Dota Invitation, the international, man.
yeah, but then I'd have to actually work. I have to actually learn new item sets, new strategies, because most of the stuff for Dota is item based as opposed to champion based, and that requires work.
But I guess the League of Legends tournaments, the prize pools are pretty big too.
Yeah, but that's because there's lots more money poured into it by the community as opposed, or by the players as opposed to by the just general community and sponsorships.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually something I was going to mention is that the first round of invites went out to teams for the Dota 2 international tournament for 2014. So you should get a team in there.
I'd have to get good at the game first.
That's true. Well, play with Crockett if we can ever get a hold of him.
Yeah, where's Crockett?
He'll teach you the ropes. Perfect. Manny, what have you been playing this week? Anything at all?
I will be right back.
Okay. I'll tell you. I'll
right.
tell you what I've been playing this week. Then I've been playing again a lot of Smash Brothers. Well, not a lot. I'm trying to play a lot more because Melee. There's an MLG tournament coming up in Toronto called Get on My Level, and I'm going to play in that. Probably going to get smashed, pretty bad, not in the good way there. And so I need to practice to get to see if I can make my way any bit up the ladder instead of getting knocked out right away. But that and playing some Call of Duty, of course. I've been trying to just hone my skills at any competitive games I can right now to get better. I went over to my friend's place last night and accidentally absolutely wrecked them. I don't think they were too happy, and I don't think I'm getting invited over to their place again. I need to. Charles? Do you play Call of Duty at all?
No. Back when I played first-person shooters a lot, it was mostly Urban Terror, some other random one. I forget what it was based out of, but most of the stuff that came from like the Quake 3 engine, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I played a lot more arcadey ones as opposed to trying to be realistic.
True. So yeah, you don't play too many shooters yourself, do you?
No, not anymore. I played Loadout a little bit and found it to be fun, but I stopped playing TF2 when it went free to play, and they were updating it 2 times a week with like 3 gigs of content every update. So I don't want to be perpetually downloading updates. It's just a big waste of bandwidth and time. So I haven't played TF2 since that happened.
Well, so your internet's pretty good, but especially for someone like me where my internet's not good at all, updates take forever. It really sucks.
Yeah,
I'd rather just one big update than like a million little ones.
And then Borderlands, but that's mostly like co-op as opposed to like competitive. So
yeah, nothing competitive like Battlefield or anything like that.
If I played a lot of first-person shooters, I could probably pick up back to where my skill level was pretty quickly. But I'm more of a tactician when it comes to first-person shooters. So in TF2, I was a medic. In Urban Terror, which was originally a mod for Quake 3, I just had the medic pack all of the time, and I was probably a godsend to have on your team because I could actually suppress the enemy team using automatic weapons, so suppressive fire, and run to a wounded person and be able to heal them.
Fair
And
enough.
those were my priorities: keep people away from me, and heal the people that are actually good at pinning
So
down
you
and
never wanted to
finishing.
get right in there in the fight yourself. You like to support the
Oh
team.
no, I'd sprint straight on. I just wasn't very good at finishing the kill.
Mm,
So
that's true.
I would push people back, and other people would finish them off because they could spin around, have better reaction time, better mouse, or better precision with their shots, and be able to finish them off, while I just basically kept enemies pinned down and helped out the people who actually knew how to finish it off.
Tactical
So
play, yeah. That makes
yeah,
sense.
exactly. Very tactical, not so much I'm the leader, the king of the leaderboard.
Fair enough. Manny, we were just kind of talking about, I was saying how I've been playing a lot of Smash because there's that tournament coming up. I just hosted one this week as well, too.
Are you gonna be one of the 12 elite who gets to go?
Yeah, that's the thing is for people that didn't know, but if you play Smash, I'm sure you know, Nintendo just announced their invitational for E3. I'm assuming they're gonna get. There's already at least 6 I can name, so there's only 6 spots left for me to fit in. But yeah, I'm sure we'll get people like Mewtwo King and Mango getting in there on the Melee side. Probably some Brawl players too, but. It's interesting to see. I again, as a competitive guy myself, I play a lot of games for the competitive side and that meta game. It's nice to see Nintendo finally recognizing Smash Brothers for the competitive game that it is, because before this, they just really had never put any attention towards it and shown any recognition that it's a competitive game and that there is a scene behind it. And again, as I've said, Melee's a 10-year-old game, and it's getting bigger now. Like there's podcasts dedicated to it. There's MLG's picking it back up again. As I said, I'm going to one in 2 weeks, an MLG sponsored tournament. So it's nice to see Nintendo finally, showing that recognition. I'm assuming you saw Manny that video they showed with Reggie Fils-Aimé.
Oh, I say we say that for the news because there's quite a bit to talk about there.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we do that, then what have you been playing this week there?
I played through and finished Dead Space 3.
Oh yeah. That was wasn't that on someone's list for what was that on their list for, like a bad ending or something, or?
I don't remember. I know it came up, right?
Yeah.
Dead Space 3, probably not for a bad ending.
It was pretty terrible. No, to be fair though, it's kind of silly to point out that the ending is bad when the entire game's a giant piece of shit. So.
Fred, why is that? Because I know Dead Space 1 and 2 were really good games. So what did they lose on the third one? Then I haven't played it yet.
So people like to compare Dead Space 1 to the movie Aliens, and then Dead Space 2, no, Alien, and then Dead Space 2 was the Dead Space series Aliens, At that point, you've already seen the monster, so you need to ratchet it up again. It's a little bit more action-packed, but there's still some scares, there's still some thrills, and it's still overall really high quality. I'd say, like, Dead Space 3 is like a crappier version of Aliens 4.
So it's almost as if, like, we've seen everything and it just didn't have anything to deliver to us, or
even Aliens 4 at least had some memorable moments.
Yeah.
That's why I say a crappier version of Aliens 4. When you think of like where the Alien series jumped the shark, like okay, Ripley's back after like how long, and now it's all weird and it's neon. But the problem with this game is it's rare that you say this about a game, but they needed to cut out about 6 to 10 hours of the game.
It just dragged.
It would have been a better game.
Yeah, it's tough too, and as you say, because even with the second one, it's like we've seen what's going on.
Yeah,
and
so that's where you go the Aliens route. It's a little bit more action-packed. You try and bring in some new enemies, some new kinds of scares. Maybe this frightening thing isn't just one guy; it's groups of people, and how do you deal with these groups coming at you? And they also had a lot of subtle storytelling. You get to see a little bit of the Unitologist Church. You get to see all this stuff. You get to see how normal people live. And it's it's all interesting. There's lots of great set pieces. This game, on the other hand, it seems like there's only 2 kind of set pieces. It's either industrial, military interiors, mainly corridors, and then outside snow. And that's the entire game for all 20 hours that it lasts. It's like people say, well, it's good co-op and it's good multiplayer, but it's like the team dedicated all their time to making a co-op game. It's like they put all of their efforts and all of their resources into making a co-op game that you can play with 2 people all the time, and making a bench system so they can justify having microtransactions, and so you could trade plans with your friends and make weapons. So sure, it's a fun co-op game, and sure, it's a fun game where you can make weapons, but everything else is not Dead Space, and it's not even like I'm some Dead Space purist. It's just bland, and it's boring, and it goes on for so long.
And that's honestly why I hadn't picked it up yet, is because even just from what I'd seen, it didn't look like the Dead Spaces that I had played before, right? It didn't feel like it had that same...
See, that's what I'm saying. I'm not a purist. I really enjoyed Dead Space 2. I in some ways enjoyed it more than 1, but I even like the Dead Space on-rails shooter. You know, I'm not some purist that needs to be, Dead Space needs to be like this and it needs to be like this. I'm saying is, because they spend so much time... You know, I think that was the year they had the EA mandate where everything has to have microtransactions of some sort and everything has to have an online mode. EA does not ship single-player games anymore. EA does not ship games where you can't continue to give us money. Remember that at 1 year of that mandate, and it sort of permeated everything. So Mass Effect 3 had a multiplayer mode. This had a multiplayer mode. Everything has to be online. Yeah. I think that's the same year they decided to make The Sims online only. Yeah. It was this big corporate CEO mandated thing that trickled down. But as a result, the Dead Space team spent all their time doing that, but they forgot to make a game that actually was visually interesting, had new enemies, interesting level design, a story that was actually worth a damn. It's garbage. It was just such garbage on all fronts. And it's not like all bad. Like it starts off on this ancient fleet that discovered the markers 200 years ago, and it's interesting for like maybe 4 hours until you get down to the ice planet, and then it's just... I know that the joke on Dead Space is that Isaac Clarke is the world's most underappreciated super. You know, my heater doesn't work. Come down and fix it. Oh boy, you're here. The faucet's leaky. Oh, what do you think about this stain? Is that mold? Can you paint that? So, but when you stretch that out over 20 hours and it's just the same quarters and the same bland snow over and over, you quickly realize, like, let me guess, as I climb up this ladder, it's gonna break and I don't have to go the long way. Yep. Okay. Wait, I can't open the door because the generator isn't on. Okay, so I have to go down to... Wait, I can't turn on the generator because there's a growth on that, so I need to go turn on the gas to kill the growth. Wait, the gas isn't working, so I need to go collect the gas so I can put the glass... Oh, but wait, that's locked behind another door that needs an...
It so almost... process almost reminds me of my... how I play any of the Elder Scrolls games. You know, I'll start a quest, and then halfway through it, I'll be like... Oh, this person wants me to do this quest, so I end up doing that before I finish the first one.
Except for the fact that this is mandated. With that one, that's your choice, right?
Yeah, so this one it seems like it'd get very tedious. Just why do I have to do this?
They needed to cut out like some of the ending was interesting. It was kind of dumb. I mean, the story was dumb, but some of it was interesting. At least it was like a new setting I've never seen before. And then the spaceship planet stuff was interesting. If they just cut out like 6 hours of the ice planet, and then just maybe condense it to like a 5-hour experience or something, it would have been a much better game.
Yeah, and that's honestly what I played Dead Space for, was atmosphere. And if you're saying there's no new set pieces or anything, it was just kind of bland. That takes away from what the game
do you
really
like
was
snow? And do you like walking through blizzards and then shooting things in the snow and then turning on generators in the snow?
Well, no, I'd just play Lost Planet then if I wanted to do that.
So, I don't know. I guess I got burnt out in the middle, but I felt like, I'm so close to the end, and I want to see how this series goes. Off, yeah. But in the end, I thought to myself, you know what I would have been better off doing is if I'm a diehard Dead Space fan, I actually do care about this franchise. I should just go get the Dead Space novel Martyr and go play Dead Space 2 or Dead Space Extraction and call it a day.
Fair enough.
You know, I'm one of those people who says just because you're a fan of a franchise, like as a fan of the franchise, you should be the first in line to say no when something's bad. You shouldn't buy it. And, like, I hate the idea that, I'm a diehard Dead Space fan, so I'm going to buy this game regardless if it's good or not. Like, no, man. You're just basically telling these people that they could shit in a box and they could put a logo on it and they'll sell it and they'll know you'll buy it because you're an idiot. You have to be the first person to say, I demand more as a fan of this franchise.
And that's a good point to make too, because a lot of people will just pick up, no matter what it is, be it a band or a game developer or anything, they put anything out. These people, fans that they call themselves, will buy it no matter how bad it is, and they'll try to justify that it's good, even if it's not.
But they're saying
when
the
you're
message
right,
that
yeah,
they don't have to try as hard.
yes, exactly. When you're right, that you're saying that, the reason you're a fan is because of the quality experience you had before, so they should maintain that. Right? It's like for me, it was Killzone. I really loved the first one. The second one was pretty good, but then the third one was just awful, I thought, compared to the rest of the series, and I was disappointed because I was a fan of the series. But, I wanted it to be good, but I had to say that it really wasn't.
But and exactly, and as a diehard Killzone fan, you don't have to buy everything Killzone that comes out, regardless of whether it's good or not, just because to prove. Like, who do you even proving it to that you need to prove to somebody that you're a diehard Killzone fan?
Oh yeah, exactly. It's not like too many people are going to be.
They're going to kick you out of the Killzone club.
And here's the thing. Actually, I've heard that Killzone Liberation was actually pretty good on the PSP, so I want to pick it up, but I haven't. But I still love the series, even though I haven't, played every iteration of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right on that point there.
So, I was disappointed with that. I don't think it's a miserable experience. I mean, if you could find someone to play the whole game co-op with, like as we said before, any game is better with somebody else, right?
Well, exactly. Yeah, precisely.
And it's a decent co-op game, but I don't know.
That's the thing, though. Is it sounds like it changed too much. So.
And there's like all these moments when you're shooting people with guns. I'm like, it's a poor man's Gears of War. It's not like you're trying to duck to hide behind things, but it doesn't really work very well. It's awkward.
Yeah, it sounds like it just took the direction of the game to a complete different spot. So would you recommend me even playing it then? I enjoyed, like, I wasn't a crazy fan of the first. I really enjoyed the first and second were great games.
I'll be honest with you, like I said, I'm a Dead Space fan, and as a Dead Space fan to another fan, I'd say go buy the Dead Space novel Martyr, which actually explains the origins of the marker and of unitology and who Altman is, and enjoy that if you care about the story and the lore. And if you care about the game, go replay Dead Space 2 or try Dead Space Extraction on the Wii or PlayStation 3 if you never played it before. Hell, go play Dead Space on iPad.
Actually, yeah, I have that. I have that on
Android.
Tab on Android. Yeah, I haven't finished it yet, but
I'd say do that, and then maybe if you still need Dead Space, get a friend and then jump into this one.
Okay, so I'm not gonna play through it on my own then.
Get a friend. It'll be a better experience.
It's so hard to come by, though.
A friend who's going to play the game with you for 20 hours?
No, just friends in the first place.
Oh, yes, that's true.
Is it on Steam? Is it on Steam, and do they have 2 packs?
Steam and 2 packs? I don't know.
Because if they've got a co-op pack on Steam, then that would be a lot easier.
I'll tell you what. If anyone wants to play this game with me on 360, I will not delete it off my hard drive, and we'll play through the whole thing together, and we can comment. Of course, it's not going to be scary anymore, because as soon as someone's talking with you, it's like, oh, that was dumb. Did you see that guy jump out at me? He's like, yeah, that was dumb.
I've noticed that too, actually. Another point is that playing horror games by myself, I'm a little baby. But when I get my friend here and like I'll make them play it, we laugh at everything. It's just not. There are genuinely some scary moments I've seen in games where we both crap our pants, but it's a lot of times you're right. It's just when you get someone there with you, it kind of like. I think it just gives you that courage. You're like, oh yeah, we can do this together. I'm not going to be the only one scared if something happens, and it gives you that little boost of bravery.
It does. It does.
Yeah, to get through it. So.
But I'm realizing now how much of that game was so pinged on co-op. Like the corridors are all too wide. There's so many open area spaces, like in the middle of the outside, where you can see the enemy coming at you from like 6 miles. Like, oh, there he comes. He's running at me. He's getting closer. Let me reload. Okay. Okay, he's here. Shoot.
It's like playing in Saskatchewan, you know.
But I guess that's what they do. So I don't know. It's interesting. Like I said, I sound bitter on it because I'm just disappointed that they squandered so much potential.
Yeah.
Do you know about the ending at all?
No, I don't. Actually, you guys were talking about it last week, and I took my ear or a week before.
Brody, I could
took
tell
these
you,
off,
and you wouldn't even believe me. You wouldn't believe me that it was true.
Here's the thing, though, is as you said, I don't know if I'm actually gonna play it.
No, but what I'm saying to you is I could tell you the ending right now. You would think I'm making up garbage.
Well, now that you said that, when you tell me, I'm gonna have to believe you, even though it may sound absurd.
It is so ridiculous and absurd. You will not believe what I'm telling you.
Okay, well, I might have to get that from you after, just so we don't give.
Does that sound?
spoilers
Are you curious now?
I am now, and the thing is, it's gonna be
You're
so
gonna
darn.
you're gonna have to tell us. You're gonna have to tell us like 3 possible endings. So think up 2 other endings, and after the show,
Make me
tell
guess.
us the 3 endings and make us guess.
All right, I could do that. And I think
All right,
you guys,
perfect.
you guys will go like, well, that one sounds too ridiculous. No, clearly it's this more reasonable, interesting. No, it's the dumbest. I have to pick one even dumber. It's gonna
Okay,
be
good.
hard.
That's your task for the end of this
All right,
podcast.
I'll think about that.
Find us alternate Dead Space endings.
You know, I won't even tell you which one it is. So Brody, you can walk into the game and think to yourself, it's which way is this going? I'm not even gonna tell you which one is right. I'm just gonna tell you 3 possible Dead Space endings.
Alrighty, I'm looking forward to this now.
All right.
All right, let's push on to some of the news then that we got for this week. I just added another one to my list here too, but I'm gonna start at the top of what I got. If you guys have anything else, you can throw it in. And just for the viewers there, just remember you guys can ask us questions and we'll answer them and discuss them. Have a discussion around those questions too. You can use the Q&A at the side there if you're on Google Plus, or if you're on YouTube, you can just post it in the comments and I'll be able to see it in our comment tracker.
Yeah, if you think I'm wrong about Dead Space, send the question.
There you go.
And tell me how terrible and wrong I am and how that game is amazing.
All right. Well, first up, I'm gonna stick to Nintendo since I guess we were talking about that before. I'll get to the Smash Invitational, but before that, just so you know, Mario Kart 8 Wii U bundle was announced. You get Mario Kart 8, and you get to download one of 4 games. It was Pikmin 3, Wii Party, Mario Bros. For the Wii U, and Wind Waker, the HD remix, remix. That comes with it. But apparently in the UK, you get a choice of 10 games, which is Nintendo Land, Mario Bros. U, Game & Wario, Pikmin 3, Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, Sonic Lost World, Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, Wii U Party, Wonderful 101, and Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. So if you don't have a Wii U yet, that might be a good pick for you if you planned on getting one. I don't know if that changes your guys' mind.
Wait, did you say you get all of those games for free that you just listed?
Pick one.
No, you get to pick one.
Okay, I was about to say that.
Yes, now that would be. I don't think you could say no to a Wii U at that point. But no, it's just you get to pick one of those. That's the UK. In the US, I think it's just the 4 games that you get to pick from. But yeah, are you guys interested now for a Wii U?
I'm gonna see what's gonna happen at E3, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna need a TV first.
You elitist. I don't even own a television.
I don't even own a television. I was thinking of getting a television like yesterday, but then they were out of stock. So.
Nobody had any TVs anywhere.
Well, no, they didn't have the cheap ass TV that I wanted.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then. But speaking of so E3 for Nintendo, this could be something that means nothing. It could just be a few things. But actually, Nintendo released their E3 website, and in the source code there was keywords were Nintendo E3, Nintendo, all that stuff, and then there was one that said new Nintendo system, and then shortly later that was removed. So that could mean nothing. It could just mean like a Zelda version of the Wii U, because they do stuff like that.
Or it could be that fitness thing that everyone's been talking about.
That's the other possibility that I was getting to. Is it could be that too.
Or they're taking pointers from Google on how to release like products, or just like release like subtle hints, or just like things hidden in the source code to make people wonder.
Mm-hmm. Well, the other thing is I'm hoping Nintendo's taking a new direction, an old direction, to a lot of their marketing now, because you saw that Reggie Fils-Aimé thing that announced their E3 stuff, that YouTube video. It was directed by I can't remember their names now, but it was wacky and funny, and that's what Nintendo was, right? It
Mega
was
64.
Mega 64, thanks. Directed the video for that. So it's cool. That's the other thing is I'm hoping this is Nintendo recognizing YouTube creators, because right now, if you, they are really harsh on anybody that uploads Nintendo content to YouTube. So I'm hoping that's another thing, kind of a hint that they're accepting that YouTube is a great tool for them. It's free marketing, basically.
Maybe, but the Mega 64 people actually have a pretty good relationship with a lot of publishers. They also did the Kojima transferring video.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember?
As I said, maybe I'm just looking too deep into it, but
I think they
Maybe
just picked who were the popular.
Like wishful thinking.
yeah.
It's a little bit of wishful thinking on your part.
Yeah. Hey, a guy can dream, right?
You just want to upload your Smash It to YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. But no, so the other thing then, yeah, is the Smash Invitational for
Well,
E3.
I think you're missing the biggest part.
Sorry, which?
I think you're missing the biggest part of the story is that they're not holding a traditional E3 press conference at all, and in its place is a series of events, one of which is this this invitational that they're going to have at the Nokia Theater where they traditionally held their press conference every year.
Yeah. So what are the other pieces then to it? Because that's
there's going to be a bunch of local showings of Nintendo at E3 at E3 at Best Buy.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go to a Best Buy, you can check out the new Smash Brothers and some other games that they're going to be showing at E3. There's going to be constant live coverage of the booth. I think they're going to have. Do you remember last year they didn't do a press conference either?
Yes.
They had like a more Nintendo Direct thing, and then they had this thing where the media went to the small little area. I can get into that at the end because I was actually there. But so yeah, Nintendo at Best Buy, live streams, and then the Smash Brother Invitational, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if they're doing that in Canada, North America only.
That's what my next question was. Are we going to see that up here? I'm going to have to keep an eye out for that, but I hope so, because that would be nice. Because then I could just go to Best Buy and I can get a little piece of E3. It's that's my way, instead of having to travel all the way across the countries there.
So it sounds like the Invitational will be live streamed, and they're gonna let certain people in, like local people in to watch the Invitational live, right?
Yes. That's as far as it goes, but the live stream is there too, so everybody can watch it if you can't make it in. But yeah, it's I think they're taking the top players, hopefully in all the different from all the different games. You know, there's big players in Melee, 64, Brawl, and then get them all to play the new Smash Brothers. That's such a great thing, and a lot of people are super happy about this because it's now they're actually listening to, as I said before, listening to their fans, and they're creating an event that hopefully can go really well if they bring out all the best players. Huge publicity then for it too, because everybody's going to be watching it. You know, all the Smash communities around are going to be watching, and I think people even that aren't into Smash are going to watch because it's something different that's being done, right? So it's.
I don't know.
No, you're not going to watch.
No, I'm not going to watch. No, I'm not being some snob. I mean, I'm going to be at E3 when that thing is going on, and I don't know if I want to spend an hour or 2 hours of my time there when I can actually be, you know, around the show floor attending another meeting or another press conference. See, that's the thing. That the bigger question I have is Nintendo still going to be doing something for the media? I know this is a very inside baseball conversation, but remember last year they did this too. Do you remember? No, I guess they didn't broadcast that part, but they let a small number of people from the media, small in quotes, into their booth before E3 actually started, and they let them go hands-on with the games after Reggie did a brief. They probably live-streamed that brief Reggie presentation where they announced a bunch of games, where he was saying, "Play the game."
I didn't see that.
I'm sure it's on YouTube or something. Just go like Nintendo E3 2013, where Reggie's going, "Play the game." But the problem with that was that their booth was way too small, and they invited way too many people. So unless you were smart enough to run to a kiosk as quickly as possible, there was like half the people who were invited to that thing were standing around waiting for them for a chance to try anything. I know I only got to play one game, which was Mario and Luigi the new Mario and Luigi on DS. Remember that one?
Yeah.
So I got to play that, but after I left the booth, every line was way too long to try anything else. They overpacked that thing, so it was less of a success on the media side. But as a result, you guys got a live stream instead, right? Combined with combined with the little presentation that we saw.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of almost I like with the live streams and watching from afar is that I can see anything I want at whatever time, instead of having to walk around to the booths. So it almost kind of works on my end. I can get an absorption of all the information at once.
Remember though, you wouldn't be. E3 is a different beast. It's a very different beast where the secret about E3 is that it's really not worth it to go unless you have appointments, because the lines for anything, including the bathrooms, are so long. It's a very schizophrenic show. E3 pretends it's an industry show. It pretends it's a trade show for the industry, but they let so many GameStop employees and managers and just friends of the company in from every various company. They let so many of those people in that it functions on the show floor like a San Diego Comic-Con, but at the same time, all the important things actually happen behind closed doors because it happens like a San Diego Comic-Con. So it's this weird mix where it's impossible to get anywhere on the show floor, but it doesn't matter because everything you want to see isn't on the show floor anyway.
Yeah, that's...
and it's like, and the people. So it's this weird thing where there's these long, like 3-hour lines because you might win a DS, and you're thinking to yourself, you're supposed to be a professional. What the hell are you doing here, waiting a 3-hour line trying to win a DS?
That's true.
It's really weird and schizophrenic.
That would throw you off. Because you go there to expect, get articles, get the scoop on things, and then...
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. That's why E3 honestly is all about the appointments. So even if you did go without appointments, you'd be spending most of your day saying, okay, what are the 3 games I want to wait 2.5 hours for to play for 5 minutes?
That's true. Yeah, and again, that's why I don't mind just having the live stream, because I can just watch whatever I want there.
It's weird though, but no matter what though, like even if you do the appointment thing, there's not enough. There aren't enough hours in the day, even at a 12-hour show. That's 3 days of, like, year after year. There's things I never even hear about until I go home, and people say, "Did you see that thing? It was in this corner." Like, no, I didn't see that. Or did you get behind closed? Did you get to check out this at the whatever booth? Like, no, I couldn't get an appointment. What are they showing? Or did you hear what's his name was over here showing this? Like, no, I had no idea he was on the show floor.
It's almost just like we had too much.
There's no way one person could see everything, which is why every media outlet brings every single person they have, and then a lot of those people get very specific beats to do very specific things. It's a weird show. It is a very weird show to cover.
Yeah, well, I will be watching that Smash Invitational stream.
So that's my question, though. Is like, are they just going to invite us to the Invitational stream, or am I going to be somewhere else at the Nintendo booth again, actually playing the games while you're watching the stream? I don't know what I'm going to be doing, so I don't know.
That's a good question. I'm not sure exactly.
But like I said, it's so inside baseball. It affects only people attending E3, and even then only if you have a media badge, and even then only if you can get invited.
That's true.
It's so inside baseball.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
but someone must find it interesting. I don't know. Somebody.
They teach their own, right? But yeah, for Smash people at least, that's a good thing. So I'm excited. I'm actually looking forward to, unlike last year, I'm looking forward to Nintendo's stuff, what they have in store for us. And again,
that's why I really
hope
I can go. I'm saying that's why I really hope I can check those things out early, because the Nintendo booth usually is one of the busiest and most crowded booths there are.
Mm-hmm. And I think this year won't be an exception.
Oh no, it's difficult. Even when you say to them, "Hey, I want to actually write about this," they're like, "We'll get in the back of the line." So it sucks, but it'll be interesting. So we expect new hardware. We expect new Metroid.
Oh, I didn't see that.
No, I'm asking you. What do we expect?
Oh,
new Metroid.
From that, yeah, I'm not sure. New hardware for sure. Whether it be just a new iteration of maybe the DS or something, or if it's that fitness stuff. But something along those lines. I'm expecting a lot of new games for sure, so I wouldn't doubt it if we saw, I don't know offhand, a new Metroid or something. Obviously, new Smash.
Oh, the new Zelda, right? Isn't that supposed to debut this year?
Yeah, and I didn't hear what's it called or anything, or is it just?
No. Yeah, I guess you might talk about like the new. They did Wind Waker to tide us over until the new Zelda's out, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I feel like that's a Charles thing. Have you heard anything
About
at all,
Legend
Charles?
of Zelda?
Yeah,
I
about the
haven't
new
been,
one.
but my ear has not been to the ground for that. There's just too much for me to. There's too much backlog that I have on my plate right now.
Mm. But
That's all of
I,
us.
I just I just installed Witcher 2.
Good job. We should play that together. We'll have a game club. I have an unopened copy of The Witcher myself.
Oh, nice.
I even
Yeah, I
wearing a Witcher
recently.
3 shirt, if you can
Yeah, I
see.
saw that.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Actually,
What?
no, I was gonna say we should start a game club where this week we play this game. This because
And
I'm
we,
sure
like-
we all have massive backlogs.
And then we just like pick like a chapter, like we play through chapter 1 through 3, and then we discuss that chapter, what like the choices we made and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think that could be fun.
Yeah.
Because again, we probably all have massive backlogs with games that are very similar on them.
I'm just saying, especially with The Witcher, because you can take such different routes. So I'll be like, so how did you handle this situation? It's like, oh, that's crazy. That's what you did. I did this, and this is what happened instead.
Yeah, I had a
Yeah,
problem
well-
with Witcher. I had a problem with Witcher 1 though. I think the first time that I played it, I couldn't get past a certain section because it didn't make sense. And then a second time, I just like managed to like just randomly get past that one section, and then I was in another section, and then something didn't make sense, and I couldn't get past it. So there's just a lot of things that, like, I don't think that they designed the puzzles particularly well to be solved.
I'll say this, Charles. Don't worry. The Witcher 2 is a remarkably better game.
Okay, good.
Okay. It's CD Projekt Red. They get better with every game they release. They get more competent technically, design-wise, story-wise, graphics.
Oh, good,
So-
because I didn't take the
No.
6 weeks correspondence course to figure out how to control the character in Witcher 1, so...
Your
Yeah,
complaints
I
are not unfounded, and the CD Projekt Red team said, we understand everything is bad. We fix.
We fix. Yeah, no,
We fix these problems.
that's the thing. I couldn't get far through Witcher because I didn't know how to attack.
It's okay. You're not all of you who are saying that. You have all. They heard you.
Oh,
Witcher 2 is better.
I figured out how to attack. It was the potions thing that I didn't quite understand.
And the funny thing is, people have been complaining about The Witcher 2 has been like too difficult, and they added an entire new edition in. If you play the most recent updates that were all free, they have new tutorials, they have new difficulty levels, they refined the combat system, magic system, and even if that one sucks, still for you, don't worry. Witcher 3 is better yet.
Have you played Witcher 3, or is it out yet?
I went to the E3 live demo where they played it for us in front of us. They directly addressed all. They said, "Yeah, we understand the combat or the old intro, blah blah blah, was bad here, and we understand this was bad." Like basically everything you would want them to say about what was wrong with the first game is like, "Yeah, we heard you. That's bad. It's better now, and this is how it's better."
Oh, yeah, release date, February 2015. So, yeah, that's not coming out for a while.
No. Which is I'm disappointed because I thought this was going to be the year finally we were going to see CD Projekt, Cyberpunk 2047.
Yeah,
But I
something like
guess
that.
if they're not even going to ship Witcher 3 until 2015, forget about Cyberpunk until like what?
2077.
It's going to be a while until we see Cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's still TBA.
Yeah.
Sad. I'm sad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we should do a Gamers Roundtable game club.
All right, we'll discuss a game to pick and we all play it together. It'll be fun.
I'm cool with that. All right then. On to unless there's anything else with Nintendo you wanted to bring up there, I'm gonna move on to something else.
It's in 6 weeks, right? June 10th at 9 a.m. is the Invitational and their mini press conference.
Yep. So we're gonna do the week before a what we expect on the podcast, and then after that we'll do a wrap up of kind of everything that did happen. But yeah, 6 weeks. That's coming up. That'll be fast.
You guys are gonna do a Gamers Roundtable during E3 itself, right?
Most likely. But I think it'd be best to. That's
Might
a
as
tough
well.
thing.
Just
Yes, it doesn't
talk
hurt.
about the press conferences. Just talk about the day so far, I guess.
That makes sense. And then just have a general discussion, and then the week after we'll do the full wrap up.
I won't be there for the E3 show.
Of course.
I will
You'll
be
on
at
the floor.
E3.
You need to bring a live. Actually, you can join in with your phone and just kind of walk around like this.
Nah.
No.
Cool. Good stuff.
Sweet. Yeah, up next, something just small and not super small, I guess. Sony, for all their MMOs, they have an all-access pass, which is kind of cool. You get instead of paying for subscription services for each of the games, you now have one pass that you pay for that you can play all of their games.
Not to jump in here, but not to interrupt you. I meant it's just like I'm confused where the news is because I thought they've had this for a while. I've certainly known about it for a while. Is there something new to this? Like they've added new games or?
Well, no. Now that they're, I think what it is that they're cutting off individual memberships for all the games now.
No, I've known about the all access online past everything. That's what I'm saying.
It only got instituted yesterday. So
okay, so it was
maybe
announced
they
a long time
announced it,
ago.
but yeah, it was
Okay.
yesterday that it got implemented.
Got you. I was looking for the angle. Like, what's the new
yeah.
what's the new part here that I'm missing?
So
Okay,
the new
cool. So
part
it's
is that
finally
it's
out.
active now. Yeah.
Good.
So yeah, so EverQuest 2, DC Universe Online, PlanetSide 2, Vanguard, and any upcoming games like EverQuest Next and stuff are going
Seems like
to
a really
have
good
this
deal.
passed.
If you
I
play
think
two of those games, it's like what, $20 a month?
$14.99.
It's even cheaper. If you play just two of those, you're getting your money's worth it instantly.
Yeah, and I think that's a cool different approach because you know, a lot of the MMOs and that have gone to, you know, free to play. So it's cool to see them take this approach. I think it's a good.
It's a great idea. I mean,
value.
like, it's a good business decision, really. If you're going to buy one MMO and like sink all of your money into a single subscription, why not produce several different MMOs and put it all under one subscription so that people just buy more MMOs? You end up paying more for the software up front. Like, you end up paying more for the software up front, but you're still you don't have the sort of barrier of, well, do I pay the subscription for this game, or do I pay it for this game, or do I pay it for this game?
Or even if you're just playing it for like PlanetSide already, I'm more willing to try out the new EverQuest because I'm getting benefits. I'm like, oh, I already subscribed for this. I'm gonna check out the new
PlanetSide 2
game
is
too.
free to play.
Which one?
PlanetSide 2 is free to play.
Oh, but you can still get a subscription for.
Yeah, you get access to the top tier.
And they give you like they roll out stuff to you every month. Like, here's your allotment of junk for this month.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Didn't
so even if they're free to play, you still get access to that stuff. There are the membership part of it, right?
Yeah, there you go. I guess we should call it subscription more like a membership, right?
Yeah, that's
The
a better way to say it.
Gold Club.
It was like RuneScape with membership. Oh, RuneScape. But
Can you still do a membership in the Old Republic, or is that just all free to play only?
I'm
probably
not
have
sure.
membership for like top tier things still. At least that was the last time I heard anything from it, and then I really stopped caring.
You don't care at all. They get new content. I think this weekend they're getting double XP for May the 4th be with you. Get a free droid. There's also a new content update, I think, where they have I think they delayed.
They're releasing a lot of new content for it. It's just I
don't care anymore.
Anymore.
That's sad. You know, when you ever even Knights of the Old Republic 2, which was broken and unfinished, and that's not even like an opinion. It actually, if you talk to the Obsidian people, they admit that some parts of the game are broken and we didn't finish parts, so we have to take out big chunks. But even that game still gets more love than the Old Republic does.
Mm-hmm. I like this. Let's go back to I like this pass though, because as you mentioned, you can jump into another game and you might actually start playing that game. And for Sony, that's smart because now more people are going to have access to all these games. Say, hey, maybe I'll try it out since I have this membership pass anyways. And more people may end up playing more of their games.
Another thing too is I'm pretty sure that this pass extends to the PlayStation 4. So I know PlanetSide 2 and some of the new EverQuest are going to come to PS4 eventually, right?
I missed that part on it.
I do know that PlanetSide 2 should have been on PS4 already, but it's going to come eventually.
Yeah.
And I think the new EverQuest is going to come eventually. And I think if you're already paying the subscription, it'll carry over too.
Well, it makes sense because I'm pretty sure you'll probably sign in with your Sony.
Could you imagine if it didn't? The outrage.
That would be blasphemous. I don't know why anybody would do that. That would be a terrible decision.
So would you be more willing if you could play these? Well, not all of them, but a lot of them on your PS4, or more
Yeah,
interested?
if I could jump back and forth between PC and my PS4, and again I use, just because of how bogged down my PC is, I play a lot more of my PS4 games or console games just in general. So yeah, I'd definitely be a lot more interested then if this extended over to the PS4, because yeah, I could play those games on console then. But we just gotta get those games on the console.
I worry though, because people like us always say, "Oh, I'd be more. Look at that Android phone, or look at that iPhone. I'd be interested." You're never gonna go over there.
Yeah, no,
look at that new screen, that feature. That's so interesting. If I were in the market.
Yeah, legitimately though, like if I could get access to all the top tier games, and there was at least, I'd say I'd have to have at least 2 games that I would be wanting to play. With that, then for sure I'd most likely get it. Right now the one I really want is PlanetSide 2. I started up a bit of EverQuest, but again I don't play too much on my.
The new EverQuest?
EverQuest 2.
EverQuest Next isn't actually out yet. EverQuest Next Landmark is basically Minecraft.
Yeah, and I was actually kind of interested in EverQuest Next, just from what I saw from it.
I'm interested in it as well, because it seems as though what they want to do is they want to make it so that you can just basically create your own character in multi-class, which will probably end up being really broken and will need a lot of balance, but
Mm-hmm. Still on Sony then, for anybody with a PS4, this is good. The first major PS4 update is, it's out tomorrow, I think. No, today. It should be out today. Version 1.7. Also, the Vita is getting updated to 3.5 or 3.15, and the PlayStation app is updated to 1.7 as well. There's a lot of good stuff. They removed. You can disable. I don't know why it still allows you to enable it, but you can disable HDCP on the PlayStation, so that way you can actually now record the output from the PS4 through a box instead of having to use the share function. Another cool thing is you can use a USB now to export your captured gameplay. So if you're playing through using the share button, you can just put it onto USB and then throw it into a computer and share it that way. So that's really helpful. You can now broadcast in HD, and you can archive your stuff on Ustream and Twitch. And then what else? New share options, more voice options, some trophy stuff. And I don't know if automatic pre-downloads too. So if there's a game that's supposed to launch on a day, you can have it pre-downloaded to your computer or to the PS4, so that day that it's launched, it gets activated and you can play it immediately. You don't have to download it once it's launched. So there's some good stuff. You can find it on their blog. I'll post it underneath the YouTube video as well, if you want to see all the other stuff on there too. Here's the biggest one. You can now dim the light bar on the controller. I know some people were upset with that.
Some people, a lot of people.
Yeah, I actually never had an issue. My screen here doesn't have glass over it, so it doesn't reflect.
I think a lot of people play in darker rooms, so I always hear the complaint that their controllers seem like a flashlight.
That's the thing. I do too, and I really haven't had an issue with it. But my room's also big, so the light can dissipate more. So that's the difference, I think. Because a lot of people are playing, in their small bedrooms or something, and I can see that. I can see the issue people have.
And people, and there's also the thing where it kills the battery life kind of needlessly, because even if the game isn't using it, that thing is still on.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah,
and I could find the annoyance in why is this on? I'm not even using this.
Well, now you can dim it, so that's something people wanted since I think they even showed the controller.
How much dimmer is it? I haven't seen that.
It was pretty significant from what I saw. It's again on this. I think there's a YouTube video right on the blog here, so I'm gonna post that to you guys so you can take a look too. But then for the Vita, all it is just making it easier to link up to the PS4, and then on the PlayStation app, there's push notifications, friend requests, and a couple other things. So it's cool to see the first round of stuff. So I'm gonna get that patch and go play with some. There's something new called the share factor as well, which allows you to add special effects and stuff to your shared videos too. So there's a lot more going with the share stuff. So I'm gonna play around with that probably later tonight. But yeah, so that's stuff. That's it for Sony for me. And the last thing I have is, remember, I think it was last week I mentioned that Spider-Man 2 for the Xbox One was just gone. It was removed from the websites. There was no word of what was happening with it, and it was only coming out on every other system but the Xbox One. Well, this week it came out. The Spider-Man 2 came out on the Xbox One Marketplace. Just out of nowhere. You can go download it now, which was kind of weird that they seemingly canceled it, and now you can just go download it without any real announcement or anything. So I thought that was kind of funky. Funky stuff.
The funkiest, man.
Yeah.
Didn't you say that people were like given refunds for this?
Yeah.
They're just given refunds. It's not like people asked for them. They're just like, here's your refund for this thing that you purchased.
Yeah. EB and GameStop were calling back their people and saying, hey, we don't know if we're going to have this anymore. We're offering your refunds for your pre-orders. And then now suddenly the game is available on the marketplace. It was the strangest thing, I thought. A weird thing to happen. But yeah, it's publicity, you know. That's
apparently GameStop and EB Games are planning on shutting down a whole bunch of their stores and moving their focus away from video games, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, they're closing like 100 stores and they're opening 400.
What?
That was the headline too. That was literally the headline the person wrote. It's like, let me see if I can find it.
So when you say changing their focus, what do you mean by that?
This is just something that I randomly heard, but tablets and phones.
Yeah, they own a store called Simply Mac.
Oh, really?
It's been doing well for them, and especially in areas that are underserved by Apple stores. You would know more. Is that it? Or let me get I'm trying to find this damn headline.
I wasn't actually given a reference to that, so if you have the headline, please feel free to give it to me. But it's something that I just saw when you brought up that GameStop was just giving random like refunds for an item that is now released. It now exists, and they thought that it wasn't going to. Seems like they've already shifted their focus away from video games. They don't even know what they're talking about anymore.
All right, here's the story. GameStop will close around 125 stores, open up to 400. Wait, what? So, yeah, so they're opening. Apparently, they own Cricket. It's a mobile carrier. That's blah blah blah. GameStop doesn't own the company, but operates stores that sells Cricket phones and services. That's what they're talking about. And Simply Mac, as you might guess from the name, is an authorized reseller of Apple products that runs small stores in markets that lack Apple stores. So I'm guessing Simply Mac is big in Canada and rural places. Are they going to be opening up more of those and more Cricket?
Really? Because I've never seen a Simply Mac, and
I've never even heard of a Simply Mac
everywhere.
So where is Simply Mac located then? But aren't you guys in a big metropolitan area? That's exactly would be served by an Apple store?
Not really. Our region is 500,000 people. That's our region. And that's across 3 cities.
That's region?
Yeah.
That's like the crappy part of Orange County.
Our city alone only has 250,000.
That's like the crappy part of my neighborhood.
Is it 2 or 3 Apple stores? How many do we have?
Here we have an Apple reseller. Plus
because there's an Apple store in Conestoga Mall, and I think there's one in Cambridge Mall as well.
So here's where they are. They're located in Indiana, Wyoming, Utah, Texas, Oregon, Nebraska, Montana, Missouri, Louisiana, Idaho, and Colorado. And I could totally understand why there's no Apple stores there. So they're going to be opening more in these underserved locations. All right.
Cool. Well, that's an interesting. Now, do they plan on completely shutting down their game side of it, or are they just minimizing?
No, just Like for example, there are games when there was a big game. Like I went to when I was on the East Coast last summer. I was driving up Pennsylvania, and after like driving through like 30 minutes of farmland, and like either direction, there was like a GameStop in this little strip mall. And I'm like, man, how much? Did you guys get a lot of? Like, not really. And of course, that place went out of business. They told me hey, we're actually shutting down later this year. So I'm guessing there's a lot of GameStops that are just like in. Oh, just recently there was a at the local Century City Mall. I remember I talked about how they had a Sony style store that was shut down, like that. There was also a GameStop there, and that GameStop actually did pretty decently because it's a little bit more of like a fashion high-end mall. People come like open air. People come to have food or go to the movie theater or go to the Apple Store or buy fancy stuff. But people still can buy for the GameStop because I guess that was like the closest one for UCLA students. But even there, when they seem to be doing decent business, shut down and replaced with like a designer handbag store that nobody walks into. But so I wonder if they expect they need to make a certain high volume, otherwise they figure it's not worth it. Forget it.
That's true. That makes sense. So, yeah, I wouldn't see them shutting down their game site completely, but it makes sense to change your focus depending on what's popular in that area, right?
Well, yeah, like that's what the article goes on to explain. It's 125 GameStop stores are closing, and they're opening around 400 Spring Mobile and Simply Mac stores, basically.
Wow.
It makes sense though because Apple can't be everywhere. I mean, the amount of it takes them like a year to build like one Apple store, and it's like an announcement. Look at our new Apple store in Barcelona! Isn't it amazing? Everything is made out of glass. Don't touch it; it'll break. But like, they have these big things, so I could easily imagine just like, here's a new Apple store. We'll fix your stuff. You don't need to drive 2 hours to the local Apple store. We know you bought that Mac and that iPad, and we come here to fix it.
Yeah, that makes sense. And again, we because they don't want to put a million everywhere, as you said, we have 2 in this city, but then in the area I'm in, just in between those 2, there isn't one. So there's a certified Apple reseller, which can do the same thing.
Didn't they close Carbon Computing, or did they move it?
No, it opened up in City Hall.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's weird.
I remember Eric and Manny saying that our city hall almost looked like a mall, and now
it does look like a mall.
Now it is a mall because the Molly.
Have you seen what our city hall looks like? No, that looks like a city hall. It's old and stodgy.
Well, ours was, and then they updated it. We had like
you guys have too much tax dollars.
A stone clock tower on the top. And everything.
We're worried about funding our schools, and you guys are like saying, "Oh, we could build a new city hall."
Oh, we need to turn that like fountain area in front of the city hall into a rink. It needs to be a skating rink.
Yeah,
and we're like, can we please have more police officers, but not the ones that beat us and shoot us if we're brown?
So topic us.
Exactly.
I think I've run out of screen space to sort of. Do we have any more news or?
I got distracted because I was looking at pictures of City Hall. You bastard. I had like a news story to send to you and everything.
I was gonna say that's it for me. So unless if
let me do a quick little scan, really quick. Did we discuss what our larger topic today is?
No, I think the games we were going to try to talk about last week were the games or moments that we got that adrenaline pumping. That extra juice to be like, yeah. And we didn't get to them last week because we had a lot of viewer questions. So we're going to do it this week.
Which we're not complaining about, by the way.
No, exactly, yeah. We love questions, so always ask us questions.
All right. Okay, I got like 4 things real quick.
All right.
Okay, I'll hit it up real fast. There's a new Disney Infinity 2.0 with a bunch of Marvel superheroes.
Okay, that's the one where it's like the Spyro.
It's Disney Skylanders, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
So, but that's a big deal. Actually, I think they're doing pretty well, and they're bringing all the Marvel heroes in, and it's the new 2.0 is going to be on PS4 and Xbox One.
Okay, now I've never played them. You get your pieces and then you put them into the game, right? Like you buy the models of the characters.
There's a little platform, and you drop the figure on the platform, and it appears in the game.
And then what kind of game is it? Is it like a platformer or is it an adventure?
It depends on which game you're talking about. the Spyro games, the Skylanders games are action platformers for the most part. Disney Infinity has multiple modes, so depending on what the main play set that you drop in the thing is, it could be a racing game, it could be an action adventure game, the what's it called? It could be an open world action game. The Pirates of the Caribbean one, there's sailing and there's ship battles. And there's also a play mode where if you don't put any playset on it, you go into this toy box mode where you can make whatever you want and sort of make your own levels and do your own things like that. And there's room to make new things going forward, like maybe an RPG or a horror game or whatever.
Yeah, I know those Skylanders. I remember when those first came out. My younger brother and all like his friends, like everybody was asking for them for Christmas, and that it got huge. And I thought it was just kind of this small little thing, but apparently no. It's and then as you said, Disney got it in on it.
You want, you know what's funny and sad is that the Skylanders people went to Nintendo and said, would you be interested in this? And they're like, I don't know.
I did not look at it.
And then they left, and now the Skylanders people are like, they're saying to themselves like, what at the time it was a blow, but what like a blessing it actually was, because now we have freedom to do whatever we want. We're making all of the money. We don't have to split with Nintendo, and we're doing great. We're seeing great sales. For them, nothing. Nintendo saying no was probably the best thing that could have happened to them, but man, Nintendo must be kicking themselves in the ass repeatedly for being like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, and you're right. Imagine at first when they first said no to it, it'd be like, oh wow, they're not showing interest. This kind of sucks. But it's good for them that it pulled off. And you're right that they said no. But Nintendo, yeah, I think Nintendo needs to start accepting ideas like that are out there, because that's what they always were, And again, I'm hoping we're seeing a new Nintendo coming through with a lot of this.
I mean, they wanted to play it safe. They named their second console after their first console, and wanted the safe technology of the tablet controller. So playing it safe with not taking on the whole Skylanders thing, totally in line with what they would normally do, right? Right?
Yeah, and I think it was good that happened, because before you'd lose money off failed projects, things like Virtual Boy and stuff like that. But it's good to show that playing it safe can also lose you money. So hopefully that was just kind of an eye-opener for them, saying that, yeah, maybe you guys need to keep innovating. Yeah, you're going to have a failed project here and there, but I think it's a good idea to always be stepping up there.
If you're a good company that does take risks, like if you're, look at Samsung. Their flood the market strategy is they're 80% failures or 95% failures, and that's okay because it's built into their model where it's flood the market, and whatever sticks and whatever hits, we'll continue to develop that and focus on that. Like they did everything, and they said, "Oh, people like big screen phones. Okay, let's make more of those." And now everything's Galaxy. So it works sometimes. That's one strategy. Or even look at Apple, where they've had a lot of failures. No one remembers any of them.
Yep.
Well, that's because Apple brushes them under the rug.
Actually, there was
and consumers let them.
I know.
Have you guys ever watched any videos by Marquise Brownlee?
No.
MKBHD. He's a really good YouTuber. Started when he was really young, and just got quality. He does a lot of tech stuff on new phones and stuff that come out, Macs and stuff. Really easy to understand videos, but he did this bit, and it was the 5 most failed technologies or devices, like things that got canceled out of production after like 2 months or something. And there was I think Apple had a spot on there for, I forget what it was, but you're right. It's all these companies are going to have failures. I can name
like 3 big failures, like right off the top of my head. Remember Ping? It was supposed to be their social networking service for music built into iTunes.
I totally forgot about
Nobody remembers that anymore.
Yeah.
Massive failure. There was the Cube box, which overheated. No one remembers that one.
Yep.
There was their mice are notoriously bad, and they're still bad, and no one cares to just buy a new mouse when they get home. So it's funny that if you're a company that actually does take risks and your risks pay off, no one cares about the failures.
Well, that's the thing, and I think that's what what I was saying is that Nintendo needs to realize, playing it safe can work sometimes, but you got to keep stepping out there, and you're gonna fail. Don't be afraid of it, because you look at how many Nintendo things did fail, right? And
well, look at the Nintendo still gets shit for not really for about their sensor that they announced at E3 and then never showed again.
Yeah, the heartbeat sensor.
I think that's more embarrassing. Is to say you're gonna do something and not do it. Then give it a chance, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
Yeah, you're right. They didn't even
don't
it
they
didn't
have
even fail. It just didn't happen.
don't they just have recently I've heard something about games now trying to use heartbeat sensors and vital sensors as trying to implement into the game. I think they're developing stuff like that. Day9 played a game like that,
Yeah.
where he had to hook himself up to like a heart monitor and
I remember that. Yeah.
And as all these smartwatch stuff gets more prevalent, these fitness bands get more prevalent, and it's built into your phones and whatever.
And then Nintendo's gonna feel stupid because then they won't have it.
They would have been the first, right?
Yep, they would have been the first because, well, I mean, even with their fitness stuff, like their Wii Fit stuff, why don't they have heart monitors for their fitness stuff? Why not?
Well, I guess that's the thing, though, right? They realized how big their fitness division was, but they realized that the fact that it was dependent on their Wii was probably holding them back. So now they're like, wait, what if we just release the Wii Fit on its own and not make people buy a $300 console just to, get healthy or try yoga? I bet that's what they're thinking.
Yeah, and I remember that's why they're going to be focusing their attention, as they said, on their fitness division.
It's not that crazy. I mean, if you think about it, they had like the walk pedometer, they had the Poke Walker, they had the Wii Fit, they had you name it, all these things that unfortunately because the only reason why they sold so well is because the Wii was everywhere and so ubiquitous. Now that the Wii U is not ubiquitous, Wii U ubiquitous.
Like those names, Appolidities.
You gotta separate it out and get those people back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I hope Nintendo's gonna. We kind of digressed a bit, but I hope Nintendo is gonna learn from the past year there, and I think they are from what it looks like. So hopefully some cool things.
So the last thing was so we talked about the new Disney Infinity. Did we mention Star Wars at all? Because that was the only thing on my Twitter feed for the last.
Sorry, you brought it up, but I can't talk on that because you're the Star Wars guy.
I'm not even the Star Wars guy, to be perfectly honest. I hate most of what Star Wars is now, but it's just all anyone is talking about.
What? No, I missed this.
All right, so this is like on every news feed, on every you want to talk about overhyped movies. Now this is like the definition of hype, where video game websites, like every video game website, talks about a story. So the first one was that they've officially ditched the EU, not the European Union, the expanded universe.
Oh.
You guys hear about that?
No.
Okay, so there were a lot of popular books, video games, comics, role-playing, tabletop games that take place after Star Wars episode, after Return of the Jedi, and stuff like Knights of the Old Republic and the Old Republic, which takes place before. So what they did was to give J.J. Abrams a free slate when making the new films.
Hold on a second. They're not featuring lens flares?
Yes, that it will be featured. All right.
I'm sorry, I interrupted. Go
Second
ahead.
tier feature. Is that so what they're doing is they're setting aside everything in the expanded universe. That's everything that was a comic book, a video game, a novel, basically anything that's not the first 6 movies and the Clone Wars TV show is now non-canon, and they're putting it under the Star Wars Legends brand. So the only thing that's canon anymore is the first 6 movies and the Clone Wars.
Well, it's a damn shame that they included the first movie.
The first 3 movies.
Yes, the first 3 movies, but specifically the first movie.
Well, because number 2 was so much better.
No, it wasn't.
I love you because your skin is not like sand. It's rough and terrible. But
well, yeah, that's kind of. I'm assuming there's going to be some pissed off people about that one, actually.
Are you joking? That's all it was.
Didn't they write books after like the 6th movie? Like, aren't there at least 3 episodes worth of books there?
Not only that, though, it's probably the most famous Star Wars books, and the most popular was the Heir to the Empire series, the Grand Admiral Thrawn trilogy, written by Timothy Zahn, which is like beloved by so many people, and kind of was the start of the Star Wars revitalization in the 90s. So that's
How many books did they write after the Star Wars series?
there's hundreds.
Hundreds? That's
Have you talked about
literally
Star Wars novels
thousands of
total?
movies if you have Peter Jackson direct them.
No, I'm just saying, but out of all these Star Wars novels and comics, and everything, there's hundreds of stuff on the side, which is probably why they just Star Wars Legends.
So basically, these next 3 movies are going to be even worse than the first 3.
No, not at all.
So-
No, that's the wrong thing. That's the wrong thing to take from this.
So
No, actually, here, look
does
at
that
this.
mean that they're going to have their own sort of like they're going to have to create their own story instead of just run the same story 40 times?
Okay, maybe this is the people don't. Okay, so here's what's going on. Okay, what's going forward now is everything from this point forward is under control of the Lucasfilm Story Group, and everything going forward now is going to be canon because the Lucasfilm Story Group is going to oversee every video game, comic, novel, mobile game, and movie going forward, and so nothing new is going to be developed in the Star Wars Legends franchise. Nope. There's not going to be a new code. There's not going to be anything new that's not canon at this point anymore. So if there was a comic book franchise that wasn't finished yet, that's done, and everything going forward is going to be canon, overseen by the Lucasfilm Story Group. All the stuff you loved before, Knights of the Old Republic, Grand Admiral Thrawn, all that stuff, it still exists. It's just under a new label, Star Wars Legends, and it's there, and you can still buy it and still give them money for it. So that's kind of the easy breakdown.
Okay.
And then people were pissed because they said, "You just ruined 20 years of my life. I've been reading Star Wars books since the 70s, and now you're saying none of it happened or matters. I hate you."
Yeah, I can understand people getting upset.
Okay, so that's the long story, and that all loops down to now people are happy again because I just linked to you a screenshot of a 75 of the Star Wars 7 cast meeting.
The cast.
And
Oh
if you
yeah,
can
sorry.
see,
That was the top link on Google there. Who do we have in it then?
you have a bunch of new young actors, but you also have Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, Anthony Daniels, and you got Chewbacca. I forget the guy's name.
Harrison Ford's in there too.
But you get you get everyone from the original cast except for Billy D. Williams back. So everyone's like, "Oh, okay then. If this is why you need to erase everything, that's cool."
Well, I'm glad it's working out then. But that honestly makes sense though how they're making everything go through the LucasArts story telling committee or whatever it was called there.
Yeah, the story committee base. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense because now everything's controlled. There's nothing, there's no ends going all which ways. It's just this is what it is.
The reason why this is a video game, the reason why this is a video game discussion, a video game topic, is very much so because Star Wars has been probably more successful than the comics have been the Star Wars video games. Star Wars video games have been big for years. People love Knights of the Old Republic. People love Force Unleashed and the Star Wars Battlefront games. And so the good thing about the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic is they take place so long ago that even if they're not canon, it doesn't even really matter whether they're canon or not, because the story they're telling is so independent and unhinged about anything else. So they're fine living in their little bubble. So you're okay with those. But going forward now, any Star Wars game you play, and there's going to be a lot of them because EA secured the multi-year licensing deal. And remember the last E3 press conference they had, they announced Star Wars Battlefront. Amy Hennig from Uncharted is making a new Star Wars game. There's going to be so many Star Wars games to come out with this new movie, and they're all coming from EA, and they're all going to be big budget. And apparently now that they're all going to the Lucasfilm Story Group, it's all canon, and it's all what really happened. It's all official, and they're all going to tie together and affect the stories. Or
wait, EA still wants something to do with Star Wars after the Old Republic?
I guess, but there you go. That's the long story made really, really short. I'm done. I don't want to talk again for like 30 minutes.
Okay, well that was well done. For someone that didn't know all that, I understand it. You recited that out.
But it's big
really
for the games, though. So I mean.
Well, exactly. Now everything matters. So and you can know that because of that.
So like
So,
I remember there was like
insane.
when the Clone Wars came out, there was the Jango Fett game that talked about how he became the guy for the clone troopers. I guess
Mhm.
that because it didn't go through any story group, that's not canon. And I'd like and know how there was like a Naboo starfighting game. I guess that's not canon. And how there was like all of that stuff. People told a lot of stories on the periphery, and they didn't really matter. And I guess going forward, that one character in the movie now is going to have his own game, and that's actually what he did in between these scenes of the movie. So
fine. So there's probably going to be a lot of conflicting things with older.
yeah, and I guess it gives them the freedom. That's why they branched everything off into the legends thing. So if it conflicts, it's a legend now. If it doesn't conflict, who cares?
That makes sense. I mean, I get it, and it honestly makes sense to me that they did that. So, again, I'm not a super Star Wars fan or anything, so it didn't. It just makes sense to me that they did that.
All right, so that's a long story, and people have been talking about this endlessly. Like the only more it was a week of controversy, Comixology and Amazon, and then this. It was just angry nerds on the internet for like 2 straight weeks.
I don't know how I missed that then.
The Comixology buys Amazon, or
No,
Amazon buys. That'd be a bigger story. No, Amazon buys Comixology.
No, just the whole thing about
Really,
the Star
that
Wars.
was all my Twitter feed was. So I had to. I learned about it regardless if I wanted to or not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know how I missed
I'm
that.
tired.
I think I was busy with that tournament.
It's okay if you
so-
don't care about Star Wars. That's fine. I can understand why you would skip it.
No, it's just I didn't see it. But
Hmm.
okay, well that was everything on your.
Yeah, I'm
Good.
done. I don't want to talk no more. You guys tell me about your list, and I'll nod my head and go, interesting.
All right, we're gonna power through our list here quick then. Again, I don't have much, just to kind of finish us off here until we say goodbye. But our list. So these are gaming moments or games that pumped us up or gave us that little shot of adrenaline that we needed to keep going forward. So we're gonna go over to Charles and get him to give us those ones first and tell us those moments that really got you pumped up.
Hey, guess who misinterpreted the topic?
Charles.
Charles. Yes. So because I have literally no idea what the word adrenaline means, and because literally's definition is now including figuratively, first one on my list is
You figuratively are the funniest guy I know.
Yeah, no. Figuratively. First one is Amnesia: The Dark Descent, because that game was really fucking scary.
Does your headset light up?
Yeah. That's
Does
the
it really?
default setting. Yeah.
Oh, that's fancy. What is that?
It's the SteelSeries Siberia V2.
It's actually
I picked this up.
the same one as mine, but mine just doesn't have the lighting.
Yeah.
Would you recommend it? Good headset?
It's a good headset.
I love it.
Picked it up. Brody recommended it to me, and I love it. The thing is really comfortable, more comfortable than any other headset I've had. Really good sound quality. You hear the difference in the mic between my old headset and this one. It's USB, which means that it doesn't work really well with, say, a phone. But
Oh, see, I didn't get the USB version. I got the
I got the USB one.
I got the little cord, so I can plug it into my iPod or whatever. But I plug it into my PlayStation controller, and the sound is great. I think they run for about, what is it, 90 or so for
Anywhere from 90 to 120.
Yeah,
depending on where you
mine
get
isn't as fancy as that when I spend like $28 on this.
it.
So I would
Yeah.
hope I would hope it has better audio and it's
Yeah.
nicer than that.
Yeah, they're great headsets. I love the mic too, that it's retractable and it slides right into the headset, so it's not in the way when you don't need it.
You know, I should invest in a better headset, but I feel like I break them so often that I can't justify it. But you would think someone who's on podcasts so often, get a better headset.
You would think. I just made the investment again, as you said, super comfy. I have these things on for hours at a time, sometime editing or doing stuff like that, and I just never feel like they're on there. They're just super comfy. The Siberia V2s is what they are. If you want to check them out.
All right, and that's your pick for the week, Charles? Okay.
Yeah,
Brody,
apparently that's my list for the week. But yeah, Amnesia: The Dark Descent was one of the games on there. If you're ever going to get scared a lot, play this in a dark room with a headset on and just shut out all of the rest of reality and cry when you get chased down by the monster. Pretty much.
Yeah, and see, that's the thing is, back to that topic of it's funny when you're with someone else. I remember seeing a lot of videos, especially that one of the guy, the Milky Ways, the guy playing through Amnesia, and he was on Skype with his friends, and his friends were howling and having a great time because he was crapping his pants.
Yeah.
So those are the two emotions you get from horror games, I think, is either laughter or horror. Like, those are the ways it can go.
Yeah, I remember watching the 18-part series that Day 9 did for this game for Halloween. For the first probably like 45 minutes or so, it was just like, shh, nothing scary. Like, oh, there's a noise. Oh, I'm supposed to be scared. And then as soon as he got to the first water part, he was screaming for like half an hour straight.
Yeah, so I can see a lot of adrenaline being created from that.
Yeah, and it's just like, everything is terrifying. Why is this happening?
I have it downloaded. I still have yet to play it.
You should play it in, like, with a headset on, turn the lights off, live stream it so that we can watch you and laugh.
Sorry, what were you saying?
My question to you, Charles, is what happens to you when your adrenaline gets that high when you're playing a game? Do you play worse? Do you play better? Are you just scared and tense? What's going on?
I can get tense. I can. Sometimes I can get tense. Sometimes I can make decisions better than I normally would be able to. Like, it really depends on the context of the situation, the context of why I have the adrenaline rush.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
that makes sense.
That could potentially do it. If I'm playing particularly well, then I will usually play better. But if I'm playing particularly badly, then I just get frustrated instead. So if I'm frustrated, then next game on my list was Left 4 Dead, like 1 and 2, Left 4 Dead series. Particularly because I don't know. Usually when I don't know if either of you have played the Left 4 Dead series.
Yes.
Okay. So usually when the tank shows up, like when a tank shows up, you you quickly bunker down, you quickly try to regroup and fortify your position or whatever. When I hear the tank music, I sprint in the direction of the tank and try to shotgun it down as fast as possible. Just because, you do the whole, you bait him really close, but you stand just at the end of his melee range and just back out of it when he goes to wind up. So you just shotgun him to death and laugh. That I find extremely satisfying to do because, I mean, it's even funnier if you're playing against people and it's a person playing the tank and they can't hit you because you're just outside of their range, but they just keep swinging anyway. And the last two ones on my list are multiplayer ones. And multiplayer ones drive up my adrenaline, particularly when the outcome matters. And I'll list them: StarCraft 2, and for mention other fast-paced RTS, but StarCraft 2 and League of Legends and other MOBAs. Usually for those kinds of games, you'll have a rank system. And particularly among the StarCraft 2 community, there's a thing that people just casually refer to as ladder anxiety, where you don't want to play a game because there's this consequence for failure. Like, you might slip out of your ranking, you might do whatever. Mm-hmm. League of Legends, it's not so bad because, I mean, if you're playing poorly, it's okay. They've got your back. You won't slip out of the actual league that you're in. But you just will have a harder time progressing. In StarCraft 2, guess what? You got demoted back to bronze. Sucks to be you. So unless I was playing with friends, where we could support each other. If I had to like rely on myself, and I had friends who would make me play this game, they're like, go play a ranked match, like go right now, and I'll like watch over your shoulder. If I was doing particularly well, and like it's getting to the point where you're launching an attack on the enemy base, or you're like holding off against a defense, like you really feel adrenaline because you're like, holy shit, what if I fail here? Holy shit, what if he's ready for this? Or what if like this push that he's doing is just a test and he's got twice the amount? And that's where you like there's uncertainty, like whatever. Or in League of Legends, where there will be an engagement, somebody will jump out of the brush, or you're the jungler and you have to go in and gank, and what's going to end up happening? Like you are responsible for like how the rest of the game is going to go if you end up giving up first blood to the enemy team. It's not as bad anymore because it's not worth as much, but like if in Dota 2, even like Dota 2, it's worse because people can just snowball and steamroll you. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
and then like for those games, like the rest of your team is relying on you. Like you have to perform to your peak.
Ladder anxiety is definitely something that I've felt before. I know it's a thing that you're like, oh, I don't want to lose my rank. I don't want to play this match because what if I suck? I'm gonna lose my rank.
Yeah, exactly. And you just don't have the motivation to play, and it just spirals out of control eventually. We're just like, I haven't played ranked matches in 3 months. I have no idea what I'm doing anymore.
Yep.
And then it's just like, well, I mean, what's the point now? So I might as well just never play ranked again. Yeah. But when you're doing well, or when you're actually in the moment, you just can potentially be like full of adrenaline. Like everything here matters for some reason. And then when you succeed, it's such an endorphin rush.
Yeah, I think it comes down to the fact that this is a competitive thing, and that's why a lot of my stuff, the games that I get it from are competitive stuff, because this is me against someone else, man. Like it's reputation on the line, and it's
and I'm being graded for this.
Yeah, exactly. I guess that'll kind of flow into mine here too. Kind of my top ones. The one I had to put in just because everybody's got to have a horror one. Slenderman did it for me.
Slenderman, the Jewish horror. I'm Sal Slenderman. Your doctor today.
See, the thing is, even with this one, I had friends in the room playing with me, and it's on my YouTube channel. I posted up me playing. I only ended up playing for about 5 minutes, and so I couldn't. I was jumping like a little baby just because of the anticipation that something could happen
Brody,
so fast.
You should do that with the Oculus Rift on.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. Actually, someone did remake a Slenderman game with the Oculus Rift.
I'm gonna laugh every time you say Slenderman.
Slenderman. If we ever need a smile, just Slenderman.
Because it's Slender Man, right? Slender Man.
Yeah, Slenderman.
But when you say Slenderman, it's like an old Jewish family, the Slendermans.
Well, maybe that's his actual name. He's not a Slender Man.
It's about a guy, Slenderman.
He's going out to the community, making sure you're okay, and you're just scared of him for some unknown reason.
Someone was on his property, and he was just trying to.
He just doesn't understand all this anti-Semitism he's getting. It's terrible. Poor guy.
Poor Slenderman. Okay, the next one for me, I had from The Last of Us, the generator sequence. There's a part where there's a door that's locked, and you have to go down to the level below and turn on a generator. And when you turn on the generator completely unexpectedly, if you don't want to know what happens, cover your ears, because it's a little bit, not terrible spoilers, but the situation. The power turns on as you expected, But what you didn't expect is to suddenly hear up on the floor above you a bunch of the mutated people walking around, and especially hearing the big one, because those guys are scary to fight. So as all of a sudden you hear the power go on, and then enemies, and you're in this dark room. It's very atmospheric, and pretty scary. It was kind of nice to see it go from, these nice, beautiful places where the greenery is taking over the city to this very scary building and dark and just the spores around you, and it was quite a change of atmosphere.
So it goes from Last of Us to Doom 3.
Yeah, and having this happen, it's because now your last thing, you're like, oh crap, I gotta quickly set up traps. I gotta figure out, because there's multiple ways they can come, because there's 2 floors you're now fighting on, and it was just like, oh wow, I got wrecked the first time it happened, just because all of a sudden this thing comes charging at me. But it was because it was completely unexpected. I'm like, oh, what the is this? So that was one of my favorite moments.
That's like adrenaline. The developers just hating the players at that point. It's just like, we're just not going to have any cues whatsoever that you're going to be rolled in a couple of seconds.
It was good though, because like it was well done. It threw you off. I mean, as that game is a well made game, but even that it threw me off. I'm like, wow, that wasn't expecting that. The next two on my list are kind of the same thing, and it comes down to competitive games. I get it a lot when I'm playing Call of Duty. It's down to the wire. Even if I'm ahead, I sometimes get it. I'll be like, I want to get this kill cam, and I got to make it look sweet. 360 no scopes, headshots, and even if someone started to creep up and I can't get that last kill, as the adrenaline starts pumping. And the one that I always got it for, and that will always be in my memory, is Mario Kart DS. Me and my friend used to sit there. We'd go to a restaurant, get on the Wi-Fi, order some fries, and then we'd join matches. And then if we didn't join a match with each other, we would quit out and rejoin in until we got each other. And we would actually kind of game the system. One of us would sit back, get a blue shell, and the other would be in first. And then what we would do is first guy would drop back, let the other 2 pass, send out the blue shell, and then we'd both pass and get up first and second. So we it was nice teamwork going on. But I always remember getting down to the wire, snaking down to the finish line. There's a guy on your butt. He's snaking behind you as well too, and you're both going back and forth, head to head. The adrenaline gets pumping, and when Manny asks you, what happens to you? Do you play better? What happens? For me, I actually almost start to play worse because I got worried. Was what if I don't get this? What if my hands start to get sweaty? And if I get too much of the adrenaline going, I actually do have to step away because I start getting jittery and uncomfortable because there's too much adrenaline going on while I'm sitting there. I need to move around. That's what adrenaline does. It's the the fight response. That I need to be doing something. So I actually have sometimes, if that happens, I have to get up and I have to walk around the room or do a jumping jack or something to get the blood flowing instead of just sitting there with adrenaline coursing through my body.
Yeah, I get that as well, where your hands sweaty, you can't do anything.
It's cool though because someone will be there watching. I suddenly have to get up and I start shaking. They're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I got so much adrenaline." I'm like, "How do you get adrenaline from playing a game?" But I think it's really when it comes down to is that competitive part. It's like, I gotta win this. I'm a really competitive person, so I don't like it when I lose. So I get really worked up when it comes down to the wire like that for competitive stuff. But yeah, I like adrenaline, but sometimes it's too much.
I said, how many controllers have you broken?
I honestly have only broken, and it didn't even it still works. It was a PS3 controller, and I broke it because not out of adrenaline, but it was out of anger because I was playing God of War, and I was fighting Ares at the end, and I got so pissed off.
And then Slenderman came up behind you, and he went boom.
And yeah, I threw it at the wall. Slenderman got mad and came after me. But playing Slenderman, I thought I was gonna break my keyboard at one point because I hit it pretty hard when I was playing Slenderman.
Wait, did you like smash it down or?
Doesn't it
What
get more
happened was,
challenging as you pick up the notes?
yeah, no, what happened was I I I got freaked out is what happened, and I kind of shoved everything forward, but I did it very aggressively. I just like it was just that, and everything flew forward, and then not the keyboard ended up upside down because of it. That damn Slenderman.
So aren't you gonna try any Oculus Rift horror games? That seems to
I
be like the money, right?
I think I'm going to have to because I have to, but I'm not going to want to.
Brody, you need to both live stream it and like upload it to YouTube afterwards.
I
We have to show
for
you
something
how
like
to
that.
set up obs so that we can do that for you.
And that's
So,
actually what I've been waiting to play Amnesia for, is until I can get a live stream going up. My internet's just kind of poopy. But yeah, that's what I've been waiting to play it for. Because I know it'll be interesting to watch me play. Because I get startled very easily. But yeah, those are the ones that get my blood pumping. Now, Manny, is there anything that ever got that going for you? Any moments where you're just like, you just got that pump going, you know, that
The pump.
the pump.
The pump is better
we're
than
gonna
coming.
call it the pump.
No, the pump is a thing. Did you ever watch that Pumping Iron documentary with a fellow Arnold Schwarzenegger around and like Lou Ferrigno's in there and he talks about the pump. It's like that moment where you keep pumping even after your muscles are tired and they hurt. And he says like the pump is the best thing. It's like better than coming. It's crazy. And then he takes a shower with like Lou Ferrigno and it like focuses on their muscles. It's crazy. It's a crazy, crazy documentary.
That sounds really intense, actually.
It really is. I totally recommend it. Anyway, now I'm thinking about men benching. That's all I think about when you say the pump. I guess if I play a good survival horror game, like with Dead Space, like maybe the first one and the second one, where you're low on resources, you don't have very much health left. And this thing is not like they attack you. It's different. You would think you would feel more stressed like in a war game. There's things flying over you all the time, but you know it's you feel like you have a lot more control, a lot more freedom. You can hide behind something. When it's a thing just running up to you and it's just in your face and tank controls and you can't really move very well, you're trying to escape, you're trying to get away. I feel like that's more stress than it is. But I guess stress is a form of adrenaline, right? Pumping through your body at a constant rate that puts you on edge. So I would say
Yeah.
Adrenaline is a reaction to stress, that's for sure.
they definitely go hand in hand. But so I would say that's more like. But I like that. I like a game that actually make you feel something. So even when I felt I was just like this constant state of stress flying through Dead Space, I'm like, oh, I'm stressed. I need a break. But I felt like that's great. The fact that I could feel something in a game, as opposed to just, you would think you're playing Call of Duty or something, it would be the most stressful experience in your world, as actual combat is. It often is kind of just more frustrating than stressful. It's more, I died again. I need to go back to that checkpoint. Fuck that sniper.
I'm not even kidding. I walked into a house
There's
last
hardly
night.
any consequence for failure in those cases.
Yeah, I walked into a house last night, and all I heard was yelling and swearing, and I'm like, oh, they must be playing Call of Duty, and they were. It's just, even if you've never sworn before, as soon as you play that game, it's just your entire vocabulary is swear words. It just happens. But you're right. It's cool to feel an actual, fight or flight reaction to something that's happening in a game while you're sitting down.
So, I guess that's why I picked horror, because a lot of horror games, or maybe even like just something I built up to a long time too. Like maybe I haven't saved in an hour. I'm at the final boss, and if I die right here, I need to do this all again. So that's maybe like, come on. Ah!
Yeah.
I did it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. That'd be a situation that would get it going. It's again down to the wire kind of thing.
Yeah.
So for you though, like, does that clear your thoughts? Would you be able to? Do you think you'd focus better? Do you have to step away?
Well, I don't know if it's focused better, but I'm definitely maybe sitting up more. And I'm like, okay, I can't sleep. I'm not slouching or lounging. Okay, I gotta sit up, be alert. okay, gotta focus. Maybe that doesn't make me focus more. I realize I need to focus more to overcome the physical response I'm getting right now. I need to
Yeah.
try harder. I need to focus more. I need to get in the zone, so to speak.
Yeah. So I think what it does is it gets you moving. You realize the situation. You're like, okay, you know what? Yeah, got to get into this. Got to focus
I
now.
need to play
So,
smart. If I don't do this smart, I'm gonna die. All right. So
yeah.
that's when you start treating like everything like it actually has real consequences. It's like, okay, this guy hits me, I lose everything. Okay, go run. Do you remember those regenerators in Dead Space?
The witch.
The regenerators, the ones that you could kill 100 times but it would keep on regenerating.
Yep.
Those guys are a source of, but that's not good stress. That's just like, I hate these guys.
That's annoying. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. I think from horror ones, that's the adrenaline kind of you don't want sometimes.
I would say enemies that are unkillable are probably the biggest source. Would be the biggest source of this kind of stress for me, or that kind of adrenaline pumping, because there's nothing you can do. All you can do is escape or stall it, and if you f up, you gotta go back into him with So if it's relentless and it's coming after you, and there's nothing you can do to get away from it.
Yeah, so it's like there's like this different types of adrenaline. When you get that good one at the end, you want a match. You're like you feel like a champion, and then there's ones with it's like, come on, this is annoying, but you gotta. And that's when you get the pump going on for the stressful one, but it's kind of a reaction to the stress. Those are the annoying ones and the stressful ones where you start to break things. Cool. So adrenaline can be good, but sometimes it's bad. But it definitely makes me have to get up and do stuff and get moving around.
So, okay, the adrenal gland is a major organ of the endocrine system. It is blah blah blah, and is chiefly responsible for the synthesis of stress hormones that are released into the bloodstream during a stress response. So there you go.
There you go. Direct result of stress.
Well, it makes it. So.
Yeah. Now, is it only after a certain point, or is it when there's enough?
I'm not going to read this whole Wikipedia article.
Oh, come on, recite it.
Oh, Wikipedia. We're quoting Wikipedia now?
Fine, I'll go to WebMD.
News source.
I'm sure.
I think Wikipedia is generally okay for bigger stuff because you have.
As long as there's citations, right? Yeah.
Yeah, if you have good citations, that's fine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly. Well, those are adrenaline.
Let me see. There's got to be something else. Maybe just Dead Space that I can think of off the top of my head. Probably there's a whole new generation of games where that's all it is, and they're counting on that. Like now that roguelikes are more popular than ever, and there's like these hardcore mode characters where if you die once, you're dead forever. So there's actual real consequences to what you're doing. I can imagine that's all you feel the entire game. Whether you're playing Diablo 3 or Binding of Isaac or FTL, that's all just adrenaline, stress, all of it. Just if I F up here, that's it. It's done.
Yep, this game is over and I have to start over.
Yeah, any of those hardcore. Well, there was I feel like that'd probably be a lot in like World of Warcraft. No, when you die, you have to go back to wherever it is. I haven't played it.
Oh, but that's nothing compared to I'm a level 60 Demon Hunter in Diablo 3 hardcore mode. Oh no, I got backed into a corner. What am I gonna do? Can I get out? Can I get out? Can I get out? I'm dead. There goes the last 40 hours of my life. Gone. So
that's true.
That sounds fun.
No, it does not sound fun.
And that's kind of like I think that's why you said you looked at like Dark Souls and that, and you said that just doesn't look fun to me because it's a lot of that. I think you get through a lot of this point and then you die and you're like, that's it. Now you have to go way back.
Honestly, I didn't know about any of the mechanics when I saw it. I just thought it looked not fun because of the way it looked and controlled.
Well, also with the Dark Souls thing, can't you bank points by spending them?
I'm not sure. I only played like an hour, and I ran through everything.
I only played the demo before it came out, and I was not impressed.
Let's do that as our game club.
Oh no, I gotta make up 3 Dead Space things for you, don't I?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You gotta figure
we have
that
to
out.
make up 3 Dead Space things. If you guys don't want Dead Space 3 spoilers.
Oh no, but I'm not gonna tell you what the real thing is, so nobody worry.
Yeah, but one of them would be real.
Okay, one of them will be real. Okay, so here you go. Dead Space 3.
Just a warning, there's a 1 in 3 chance that you're going to be spoiled.
All right. Would it be funny if I make them all up and you guys say, "Oh, that's ridiculous"?
Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of Dead Space 3, you realize that Isaac Clarke actually can control the markers. So what he does is he fuses with a marker, and he becomes the necromorph infection. And by doing so, he was able to retain a little bit of his sanity. I mean, of himself by remembering how much he loves. What's her name? Shooty girl, the one who
Emily?
lost an eye.
Oh no.
Anyway, his lady, not the dead one. So he absorbs the stuff back into him, sacrificing himself in the end and eliminating the infection. Or so we think. It just eliminated it in this part of the galaxy. So sort of like a Mass Effect style. And he shatters.
Okay.
There's a standard EA ending. All right. Okay.
So here's number 2, take 2. Okay, so we realize that the infection is actually an alien weapon meant to wipe out as much of the universe as possible so that people come and recolonize it later. And what you do at the end of Dead Space 3 is you encounter the aliens that have done this. Of course, little do they know that their own weapon turned against them eventually. And their own weapon went out of control and absorbed them and killed them too. So it's just like sort of like this mindless AI that consumes for the sake of consuming. And you need to use the alien tech to turn off the machine and end it once and for all.
Okay.
And the third one is, so what happens is at the end of a necrophorus infection is that all the dead bodies float into the sky and create a moon above the Earth. And then that moon is alive and sentient, and it has little tentacles that comes out, and it sucks up all the life on other planets. And all the moons, see, this happens multiple times. So there's multiple moons, and each moon hyperlinks to each other moon, and they create this census network where they float around and eat people because they're moons.
Because the
No.
okay, so we've got Mass Effect, Halo.
Yeah, I was about to say Halo was the second one.
And what?
And what?
All right, that's it. I'm done.
Okay.
It actually is really hard to tell which one would be the real one.
I mean, like, I want to completely cancel out number 3, but the way you said, you're not going to believe it, makes you think it could be.
It could either be a blatant ripoff of one of two
Wait, the
other
flood was a
games
weapon?
series.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, the flood was the flood was an infection, and the Halo sort of weapon system was developed by the Forerunners to be able to eradicate the flood because the flood was sentient. Only it didn't quite work.
So this is different than Halo because.
So that we got, it's kind of same vibe is what.
All right, cool.
Okay, well I want to play it now to find out which one.
Yeah, see, there you go. I got it.
And now we have to play Dead Space 3 to find out which endings Manny made up.
Surprisingly, there's not that much story in Dead Space. In that 20-hour game, there isn't really that much story. If you're playing it for the story, I honestly would recommend just watch it on YouTube. There's maybe like an hour of cutscenes and actual story progression in that entire 20-hour game.
Is the co-op and the single player the same storyline?
For the most part, yes. But as you get locked out of certain co-op side missions, if you're playing by yourself, they say come back with a friend to do this mission. But the main story is identical for the most part.
Okay, so if I played it with someone, I'll get to that.
Yeah, you'll get more than I got.
Okay, and I'll still get one of those 3 endings.
Yes.
Hopefully.
The twist is all 3 of them are endings to Dead Space 3, and those are just all based on your decisions.
That's why he came up with them so easily there. Wonderful. All right, well, I have to play that now with someone because I need to know. My curiosity is piquing.
All right, cool.
Cool. So what I think what we'll do, unless anybody has any last things, we'll wrap up. We're also gonna decide either this time or soon. We can make actually a list of games that we'll do for our game club, but we'll have the Gamers Roundtable Game Club, game club where we'll play through a certain
Gamers
part of the game,
Roundtable Club.
and then we can have a section during the podcast where we discuss what we did with that game and what we thought.
Or we could even break it out to like a small, because it doesn't necessarily be like this super long conversation. If it's just like 30 minutes of what we have to say, we could maybe even break it out to its own little side thing.
That's what I was saying. We even do it as a section and then break it off, or even break it off to its own separate video. Whatever we do.
And then you have like a little playlist, like the Dead Space 3 playthrough. You just have like all 5 videos of the playthrough.
But regardless, I think that can be something fun for us to do.
And a good way to get to the damn backlog.
Yeah, exactly. Get that backlog cleaned up.
Brody, do you have Witcher 2?
I think so.
And Manny, you said you have it, but you haven't played it yet?
Yeah.
So all 3 of us have it, and all 3 of us haven't played it yet.
Oh, but we need to talk to the other guys, right? Too.
Yeah.
All right.
We'll set a list up after this, and then we'll figure it out. All right. Cool. So let's wrap up then. This is the Gamers Roundtable, and we talk about games, and we do this every week. So make sure to join us 7 p.m. EDT on Wednesdays.
Like, comment, or subscribe. No, we're not doing that.
Like, comment, and subscribe right down below there. Leave comments, and we always have a Q&A. So last time we had a lot of good questions. This time nobody wanted to talk to us.
And that's probably because Reddit censored our post. Seriously, why did they do that?
I don't know. It's weird. But make sure to go to Gamers Roundtable on Google+, give us a +1, and you'll see all our posts there. Or go find us on Twitter. So we'll go online and show everybody. Charles, thanks for coming out. You can find him at CStovetop or on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/CStove.
And I finally got my streaming channel actually sorted out. It's now on Twitch instead of just in TV.
I'm gonna need your help with that later.
To get that set up, I'll find the Google form and you can put your channel name in it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming out, Charles.
No problem.
And beside him, if you want to find Manny on Twitter, you can go to @MarinoEM.
I should say it so that my screen face pops up.
I actually clicked you.
EM. Oh, you're so clever.
Yeah.
He's the host. He gets to control who gets to be on the top.
It's all about repetition. Say it again.
@MarinoEM.
There we go. On Twitter. And you can also see his stuff at rpgamer.com there. So go read his stuff. And myself, LeafX. It's just @LeafX. You'll be able to see the things that I talk about on there. And make sure to subscribe to the Gamers Roundtable on YouTube. That's Gamers Roundtable Show. You can see it right underneath me there if it's good enough quality.
It's horribly broken up.
I thought so. That's what I'm seeing too. But make sure you guys join us next week. Throw us on the background or talk with us and ask us questions. But until next time, keep gaming hard.